Okay, I guess we've started. It's so laggy on my side when I start. It's only when I start. I don't know why it's doing this.
No worries, no worries.
Have I been sitting here for a second, just kind of gazing down at my phone to see if I've started or not yet?
Yeah, you did. I was kind of worried. I was checking my connection just to make sure I wasn't the one having the problem.
No, it's always me. Everyone should always just know it's me. When in doubt, it's Joe. But I just switched internet service or internet providers, and so far this one is way better. But when I have someone on the show and I start the stream, it lags just when it starts. Then once we're on the screen and everything else stops, it's fine. So I guess it's better than nothing.
Maybe it's like a faucet, you got to turn it on, get all the build up and the hard water build up inside of the pipes to clear out, and then whoosh, it all comes out just like a stream.
I'll take that. Oh my gosh. So I have all your, well, not all your links, just as many as I can get on there before we started, because I didn't realize what time it was. But I have your link in the comment for you. I have the one for 13 or key 13, and then for terribly awful. Am I forgetting anything? I kind of feel like I am.
No. Now you do have the new link for terribly awful, since our old one got yanked by Facebook.
I went to the page and
then you're good. Yeah.
Okay.
The link that we had when the last time I was on the show, Facebook in its infinite wisdom yanked our page with no explanation, no warning. They just did it. I just woke up one morning and the page was gone.
Oh my gosh.
I had to start. We had we were approaching 2,000 viewers, and we had to start all the way back at 0.
Oh, and you couldn't go to technical. I mean, not that they'll do anything anyway, because it's all that Autobot shit. You're not really ever talking to anybody.
No, I couldn't even do that. I could not get no reason, no email, no warning, no. I saw a brief little note, and I thought it was because there was a post that was causing some problems. Which sometimes people will post stupid stuff on your page, and then when I went to try to delete it.
Oh, did you? Well, I mean, you have YouTube. Excuse me. You have YouTube. Hopefully, did you have all your videos on there, or did you have them backed up or anything?
Oh yeah, we had everything. It was losing the viewership.
Right.
We were averaging 3 for our written reviews. We were usually averaging over 3,000 readers. And then for our episodes, we were hitting in the thousands, over 1,100 views per video. And now all that was gone. Everything that we did, we put everything back up, but everything we had done is gone.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's shitty.
Yeah, and it was on the day my daughter was getting married too. So it was so I had to completely not pay attention to it, because I had something slightly more pressing, as one would say, at the moment. And it is what it is. And so we had to start from scratch, which means we lost almost 2,000 people.
Oh man, that's horrible. And this whole social media shit really bothers me, but it's a necessity to do what we do. And it's like your hands are tied. It's like, oh my God, just fucking give us some freedom. Stop doing this, canceling and yanking of everything for just silly reasons.
Yeah, sometimes some things do have to get yanked, and it's understandable. Right. But for us, okay. Well, and I apologize if I'm about to go on an epic Facebook and YouTube rant.
You do.
Yeah, but the fact is that both Facebook and YouTube are in they're there to make money, and the more money that you put into them, the less restrictions they put on you. Yeah, they want you to communicate, they want you to be free, but they want you to pay for that privilege. And okay, they're a business. It's their right to charge for the service they provide. I'm not begrudging that fact, but the fact that, if you don't pay, they treat you harsher. A person can post some hateful, ridiculous stuff, and it wasn't until everybody started complaining about it that they started actually pulling it. But because those people were paying tons of money, they just didn't give a crap. Then when small independent people who can't afford to shell out $500-600 a day on advertising, they clamp down on it with the slightest infraction. And I know that Facebook doesn't care so long as you pay, because how many ads have you seen where they, like this one, for a while there was a couple ads, one for a gimbal and one for one of those 3D rugs that looks like it's a hole, that it goes down, looks like it's an optical illusion, so it looks like it's a bottomless pit.
Oh, okay.
Well, there were, like, every single day I get like 6 or 7 of these advertisements from different companies, all using the exact same video or the exact same pictures. And then when you click the links, they offer them for you for like $24.95 for a gimbal. If anybody is offering $24.95 for a gimbal, you're not going to get it. So how is it that me, who's only had one instance where I had NBC Universal bitch at us about doing a positive review of Halloween 3, the one that everybody, but those who truly understand what the joy of Halloween 3 is, Facebook and NBC Universal gave us grief for that. But that was the only time we've ever had grief with anything that we've ever done. And then a few days later, they yank our page. And at first I thought maybe it was because of that, but I have no idea. But it shouldn't have been, because we did exactly what they said. We pulled the video. We, did all the stuff that, we edited out everything. And we also, and possibly it's because I gave Facebook a big old middle finger. If you actually watch the video on our Facebook page, you'll see exactly our opinion of what Facebook was doing. So Facebook is in the business, is there to make money. Okay, I'm not arguing that fact, but they can't bullshit and say they're there to foster communication when the only communication they actually foster are those who pay.
Right.
That is hypocrisy, and that I have a problem with. And same thing with YouTube. And we again on YouTube. Now I will say this about YouTube. On YouTube, we got hit with a copyright violation from some UK company that their whole job is just to go around and get negative reviews shut down for movies that they sponsor. But Facebook didn't yank our page, didn't shut us down, gave us 2 opportunities to refute or rebut the copyright claim. We lost. They said, okay, you lost the second one. You got to go back, get rid of all the stuff, and then all the stuff we tell you to. And if you do, we won't hold it against you, which we did. But Facebook didn't have a problem with it, so go figure that one. And we did, and our YouTube page is still there. Now, mind you, our YouTube page doesn't get nearly the traffic that our Facebook page did. So, it's really more of just for those who just don't have Facebook. And this, of course, with Facebook and YouTube hating each other, and they won't share their algorithm. So if you post a video on YouTube and share it on Facebook, Facebook won't share it. They'll block it because I guess YouTube won't pay them or whatever. So, and again, I'm guessing on a lot of this stuff. I'm sure that there's some internet wonks out there that'll be sitting there going, well, technically it's all about, whatever. This is just from a perception of a guy who has been dealing with a whole bunch of crap from both pages for at least a couple of years now, and these are my experiences. So, it just it is really frustrating. And when they say that they're there to foster communication, share ideas, share the world, and I'm not even going to go into my whole free speech rant, because that's a whole other thing. We got other things to talk about today, but that's why it's why it was just frustrating, and I was so pissed off because they just decided to yank us for no reason, without any warning or anything like that. And well, YouTube at least gave us the opportunity, but I think it was still the fact that the DCMA gets abused constantly by companies and by people, and and unfortunately, it's sometimes I can't fault the companies, but I can still be pissed at them for it.
Yeah. Absolutely, you have that right to. I think a lot of people should be. It sounds like they're just trying to foster money from one bank account to the next.
Oh yeah, it's all about money, and it's always been about money. Zuckerborg, whatever you want to call him. He may be a complete and utter sociopath, but he's not stupid.
Right.
And the whole point of Facebook, the whole point of it going public is to make money. It's always about making money. It's what Jeff Bezos at Amazon does. It's what everybody does. It's what big business is all about. Even little business, we're all trying to get some nuts and put them in our pockets and be able to do what we want to do and do what we love and get paid while doing it. I got no problem with that. It's just when you use that power base to screw people because of they're not paying you enough, they're not whatever, I have a problem with that. But who am I? I'm just some guy who runs a small production company, and hell, I don't even pay my actors half the time. So, and believe me, that has been pointed out more than once. Which, hey, I don't begrudge anybody trying to make a buck in this world, because we're all trying to do that. But sometimes it's just there comes to a point where you gotta, if you love something, you should enjoy doing it, and if you can pay somebody for doing something that you love, you should. But sometimes it's more of just trading the experience and the camaraderie. Working on a film set, even if nobody's getting paid, is a lot of fun, and you make connections and you meet people that are amazing and fun and exciting. So sometimes, yeah, the money's nice, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's that human interaction, that connection that you make with people who are of a like mind and of a like interest. That's what makes, sometimes that supersedes money. The job that I do in my day jobs, I get paid I get paid well. Not great, but I could be making a lot more. But I love the job. I love the people. I love the people I work for. I have, so I'm willing to not get paid more than what I could be, because I have a job in a happy environment with people that I enjoy working with, and people who respect me, and there's promotion, and there's chances for me to grow and develop. So, sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's about what it can do for you as a person.
Right. Because overall, it just is a payoff.
Yeah. There's a payoff somewhere. It may not be money, maybe emotional.
No, your growth, and you can progress, as a person, with relationships and experiences, like you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Rick Germain says, you tell him, Matt.
Hey, Rick. Rick is actually helped us with our Elementals comic book project. He was the he runs a voice recording studio, and he's also going to be our lead in our upcoming film series Profession, which we hope to start filming in April of next year. Hopefully, COVID will be on the way down, and we'll be able to do that. But I mean, we're still going to keep our crew lean and mean, because even if say everything goes well, the second Civil War hasn't started. Joe Biden is president. He goes into the White House, and they actually get a handle on COVID and get the vaccine out. April is still a little early, so we're still gonna probably be still doing COVID precautions even at that point. But I firmly believe we'll be able to get started on that production. So Rick is an integral part of that. He's a producer. He's the lead actor. Lead actor for the character Kite. Sorry, we're looking for the character of Win, and he's an all around. He does it all. He's fantastic. He's a great guy to work with, and a lot of people like working with him too. So, we're very lucky to have him on board.
Oh, well, I hope everything works out, for everybody's sake as far as April goes, and everything being a little less restrictive. And I know you have a couple of projects coming up, and you just finished a terribly awful season 3.
Yeah, season 3 is about to finish. We've got the penultimate episode airs next week, which was actually a movie that was sent to us by the director. And I give the director credit. We told him it was going to be honest, and we are not. We are merciless with that movie. If you have not watched any of the episodes, you need to watch it. You need to watch next week's episode. It's An Hour to Kill is the name of the movie. It is probably one of the funniest and one of the most savage reviews we have ever done on Terribly Awful. I mean, it truly is a penultimate episode. It really is.
Well, I'll have to definitely share that one for everybody to catch when it comes out.
Oh yeah, I mean, actually, sorry, I take it back. I am wrong. We actually have, it's not next week, it's the week after next, because next week is Axum with actor Jesse L. Green, who's a very well-known horror film actor, as well as the great Captain Mango and Captain Decapitate in the wrestling world too. So we have Axum. Then we have An Hour to Kill. So not next week, the week after next. And then our final episode, which I can't tell you what it is because let's just say it's going to be an Uwe Boll movie. So at the end of every year, we do an Uwe Boll movie. Last year we did Blubberella. And the year before that, we did Blood Rain, the first one with Kristanna Loken. Okay.
Well, Richard has a question for you. He says, but have you seen Santa Jaws?
I've heard of it. It is actually on our list of titles to review, to look at for season 4. Possibly doing a video on season 4. Definitely going to probably be a written review at some point. I just finished writing my review for the Star Wars Holiday Special. So that one's going to be, well, I was reading that one. I'm even laughing at it, and I wrote it. And normally I don't work. But yeah.
That's when you struck gold. You're like, I'm so funny. I'm so funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and much like An Hour to Kill, it is not kind. But no, Santa Jaws is on my list. It's definitely on the master list.
Let me real quick. Let me catch up because I've got a lot of people commenting so far.
Oh boy!
Real quick. Hi Jesse. Hey Ron. Hey Josh. Hey Rick again. Hey Sean. Hey Richard. And that's it. Oh, also real quick, because I thought this was funny. Josh put this earlier. He says UK people are wankers. I'll admit it.
Cheers, Josh.
Richard also wants to know real quick. Have Lamageddon? I have seen the previews for that one. Lamageddon, and there's what's the pinata one? Evil Pinata or some shit. Like if you go on well, it's on Prime. If you watch like Thanksgiving, like then they have all these little suggested relevant to this movie kind of movie. Like if you like this one, you might like this one kind of shit.
Okay.
But Lamageddon looked hilarious. I might try to do a review on that one towards the end of the year.
Lamageddon?
Lamageddon. Richard, if you know offhand, remind me of the pinata one too. I know you had to have seen it.
I'm writing it down on my list.
And Sean says, in relation to the topic we're going to get here to shortly, Gremlins was and is still my favorite film. It's an amazing Christmas movie. I had everything Gremlins related as a kid, even a Gizmo backpack, and got beat up for it, but still continued to wear it. Sadly, lost everything in the house fire. Aww.
Oh, that's awful. Was it caused by gremlins, though? Was the house fire caused by gremlins?
That's a good point. Oh, man. Memories.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, believe me, I had a gremlin this morning. I went looking for my glasses, and I could not find them. And apparently then they put them back because I wound up from my bed over by my desk. So I don't know.
They're in there. Fun fact, for I guess mogwais are actually like a Chinese demon.
Really?
Yeah, like it's some kind of like little mythical thing that they have. So I thought that was pretty. I mean, I didn't get like super into it. I was just trying to read like little quick facts about it. And that was one that kind of stuck out for me. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, it's also a Scottish post-rock band formed in Glasgow. But it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there's in Japan there's oh shoot, now I've just completely went up on what they call Shinigami, little elby things. So those are that, kind of gremlin-y. Of course, the best gremlin in the world is the one that terrified both William Shatner and John Lithgow in The Twilight Zone.
There's something on the wing.
And did you ever watch Third Rock from the Sun?
I did. I love Third Rock from the Sun. You can see it on FilmRise, but you have to watch like a million commercials when the commercials.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Well, my favorite is when William Shatner shows up as the big giant head.
Oh,
yeah, and he's like, how was John Lithgow's like, how was your flight, sir? Or no, it was Kristen, and she goes, how was your flight, sir? And he goes, it was awful. I looked outside and I saw something on the wing on the plane. And then John Lithgow just goes, the same thing happened to me. So it was, that moment right there. I mean, when William Shatner is going to be in something, except for the movie of his I just recently watched that had Jerry Ryan from Star Trek. It was The Devil's Asshole or something. I don't remember what it was. It was no shit. It was not Bill Shatner. It was like Bill Shatner was busy trying to fight off a stroke while making, because he was just low energy, low key. It's like, he when he dies in the movie, sorry, spoilers, he doesn't even give a cool badass quip. He doesn't give a Shatner-esque quip. He just dies. It just sucks. God, what the hell is that movie? Now I'm gonna have to research it.
Oh my gosh. Well, kind of back into our topic, I guess, of the mogwais, the little Chinese demons. Thank you, Richard. Killer Pinata. That's what it is. I knew it was something.
Pinata. All right, I'll put that.
I knew it was something like that. Thank you, Richard. But yeah, do you remember when you first saw the Gremlins movie?
Oh yeah. Oh, and by the way, it's The Devil's Revenge is the name of the Shatner
Devil's
movie.
Revenge. Okay.
Don't watch it. It sucks.
Okay, I won't write that down then.
Yeah, it sucks. Yes, actually, I was I went to the theaters to
Okay.
see the first Gremlins movie. You know, it's sad. The second Gremlins movies I didn't see until it was on HBO. But the first Gremlins movies, I actually went to the movie theater and I actually watched it on the big screen. And as a matter of fact, the independent cinema here in where I live, which is Frederick, Maryland, Warehouse Cinema just is actually showing Gremlins on the big screen.
Oh, cool.
And if it weren't for the fact that I've barricaded myself in the house because of COVID, I'd be going out to go see it.
Just put a sheet up on the wall and get a little projector and just make your own popcorn. Go sit in the backyard or something.
Actually, in my basement, in my photography studio, I have a big white backdrop, paper backdrop, and I do have a projector. So yeah, I can actually sit there and watch movies, and I have lawn chairs, so I can really like lean all the way back.
There you go.
So, but yeah, I saw Gremlins in the theaters, and as a little kid, I was, gosh, how old? Let's see, what year was it? It was
Not 84.
84, yeah. So I was 82, 83. I was 13 years old.
Okay.
I was 13 years old when I went to go see it, and I loved it. And this was before the days of the internet, so I didn't realize that Howie Mandel, who was on the show St. Elsewhere, was the voice of Gizmo. And I was just like, when I found that out, I'm like, Howie Mandel? Howie Mandel doesn't, that's not Howie Mandel. That doesn't sound like him. He's a doofus on St. Elsewhere. But of course, also I'm 13 years old, and who do you see but the goddess herself, Phoebe Cates.
Right.
My mom
There's
was
no music to her entrance or anything though in this movie. So
well, my mom was one of those cool moms. She let me see Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
What?
Yeah.
Mom.
So yeah. So of course, I didn't get to see it in the theaters, but I did get to see it on VHS. But yeah, so I actually knew who Phoebe Cates was from that, and was, I fell in love with her on that movie. And then, Gremlins, she shows up Gremlins. So of course I'm paying attention, but it's, and then probably for me, the most surreal moment was the fact that Polly Holiday was in it. Now, most people don't know who Polly Holiday is, but at the time she was well known for a TV show called Alice, where she played a character named Flo, and her catchphrase was "Kiss my grits."
Oh, it was like the Two Broke Girls kind of show for the time,
right? It was about Alice. It was based off the Martin Scorsese movie Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, with Ellen Bernstein and Chris Christopherson, but the TV show was Linda Lavin. And anyways, Polly Holiday was on it. So Polly Holiday was her character, Flo. All right, Richard. So Polly Holiday was in Gremlins, and she's this old bitch. And
it's Beagle, right? Beagle.
Yeah.
Beagle or Beagle?
Deagle.
Okay, yeah, she's like the wicked witch, like your dog, kind of.
Yeah, the one that dies by them sabotaging her chair.
Yeah, right out the window.
Yeah, fucking hilarious.
Oh, how many floors did she have to her damn house? Like, that chair was going forever.
I know. And you're like, well, that's Joe Dante for you. I mean, The Howling is still one of my favorite.
Oh yes, that's such a good movie.
And I recently finally saw Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf. The one with Sybil Danning in it. The one at the very end where she's like, the end credits, they show her ripping her top off like 18 times. It's horrible. It is absolute. I mean, you never watch The Howling and then The Howling 2, because they're two totally different movies. It's like going from a really good fine wine to drinking Boone's Farm.
Oh,
It
okay.
I, the male lead in Howling 2 is Reb fucking Brown from your sorry, your or no, Gore, Outlaw Gore. Space Mutiny, the failed Captain America TV show. I mean, he's not a good actor. He's not. He's terrible. But yep. Sean's talking about Alice.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyways, going back to Gremlin. So for me, seeing Polly Holiday in that, and then of course one of the Coreys was in it, which I never really fell into Corey mania. But then again, I wasn't a teenage girl, so. But I mean, really, it's one of those things. Hoyt Axton as the dad. I mean, I knew him from singing country songs like Della and the Dealer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he did that before.
Yeah. He's actually a country western singer. He did Della and the Dealer. It was his big hit. He actually showed up on quite a few things. He did the song Mitchell for the movie Mitchell with Joe Don Baker, which is, oh my goodness. That's a whole nother story. But Hoyt Axton was actually.
Sorry, that was funny. I wanted to put it up real quick before we got too far from it. So.
Yeah, no, I see that. He's Richard. You're absolutely right on that one. Absolutely right. But so the people that were in it were a lot of them, and most people don't know who Key Luke is.
He was in Waxwork, wasn't he?
He was in a lot of stuff. I mean, he was actually acting from when he was in the Charlie Chan movies, which is really kind of funny if you think about it. The fact that in the chart he played number one son, and his father was always played by a white actor in Asian face. So here he is, an Asian man playing number one son to a white guy trying to be made look like an Asian. The only time I've ever seen Asians putting somebody who isn't Asian as an Asian, the worst one I've ever seen, I think, is Ricardo Montalban in an episode of Hawaii Five-0, supposed to be Japanese, and it's terrible. And I do not believe in whitewashing. Or any kind of washing. I believe that if you're gonna. There are thousands of Asian actors, and of course, this was the 1930s, so different time, different rules, different standards. But today, Scarlett Johansson playing the Major in Ghost in the Shell was just insulting. She's. I mean, I know people are going to hate me for it, but she's not a good actress. She did good in like Ghost World,
Island.
The Island, yeah, okay, Michael Bay, him. Really, her claim to fame is Lost in Translation. And the way that she played it is pretty much the way she plays every freaking role. And it worked for Lost in Translation. It doesn't work for half the other movies that she's in. But that's just me. I know people will argue with me about it, but anyways, going way back, I keep going off topic.
You're okay. You're okay.
Talking about Gremlins here. So for me, for a lot of people, who've discovered Gremlins later, they don't realize that there's actually kind of almost a history. It's not exactly royalty, but there's quite a few actors in there that, for me, were part of my growing up. And so seeing them all in the screen was really kind of a treat. And then, of course, the whole thing with the Gremlins, with the Mogwai, especially after they got wet. And I have to say, that scene when Gizmo first gets wet in the bubbles and
Yeah, it's kind of
things.
gross.
That was kind of like that was really I'm 13, and it was still kind of intense even for me at the time. And then of course the special effects in it with the puppeting and all that. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, and it's funny. It's got the horror elements, and and especially during the final battle. You're really hoping that even though I kind of knew that, Zach Galligan's character was going to survive, it didn't necessarily mean it. Maybe Joe Dante, because Joe Dante killed off Dee Wallace at the end of Howling, so maybe it wasn't going to be the case, but it was, and so. But it was a really good. It just had that right mix of horror. It was more horror and then comedy, unlike Gremlins 2, which is more comedy than horror, and again, probably going to get a lot of hate mail for it. I actually prefer Gremlins 2 to Gremlins.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do. And I don't know, I think part of it is because they make fun of the first one in parts of the second one.
Yeah.
And I did like the second one. I will admit to you, I did like the second one better as well. With that Chinatown. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Looking for the Mogwai, we get, a bunch of S&M leather stuff. So
Son of a bitch, it happened again. Every time, tired of ordering off a Wish.
So yeah, I like Gremlins 2, and mostly because I do. I mean, and again, Joe Dante, really good director. And the fact that they just completely went opposite, and Tony Randall being the voice of the brainy gremlin. I
love the brainy gremlin when he starts like trying to experiment with the other gremlins, the one that turns into the bat, and he's like, "Hey there, chap, I noticed that you have an advantage, and I thought I'd I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. He's like, hey, we can't really go out in the daylight, but this is UV protector, so let's try it out." Bam! Yeah. Stab him with it.
My favorite scene with him is when he's being interviewed by, was it Uncle Al? Oh, gosh, I should remember the guy. Yeah, the guy that, let's see, hold on. Grandpa Fred, who was dressed up like the grandpa from the Munsters.
Oh.
And he's interviewing the brainy gremlin. He's like, "Creature, what do you want?" What I'd like is what most anybody wants: civilization. And and he's going on, and then there's the gremlin that pops up and is like, "Now, take this fellow, for example. Bam! Now, was that civilized? Certainly not. Fun, but in no way civilized." And the fact that he's just, he's still a gremlin. He still does mayhem and violence and evil, but he's actually very almost philosophical and zen about it. He's just like, "No, was that civilized? No. Fun, but in no way civilized." And and of course, Phoebe Cates was also in it again, and she had a new hairdo, which I loved, and I thought she looked even sexier there than she did in the first Gremlin. So she was, but just the comedy. Christopher Lee. I mean, come on, Christopher Lee makes everything he's in awesome. There's this movie that I watched. It was a French film with Jean Reno. I think it's called Red River. I don't forget what the French title is. So I watch it, but of course, and it's in French. And Christopher Lee shows up as this sort of like villain. It's just a cameo, and he speaks perfect French. And because I know he spoke a lot of languages, but I mean, this movie was an okay movie. I mean, Jean Reno is always great. I love Jean Reno, and ever since The Professional. But yeah, Gremlins 2 had Christopher Lee, and he stole the show. Even just the little bit that he had. and the comedy and the action and all that stuff. It was, both the movies are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't hate the first Gremlins, but I mean, if Gremlins, the first Gremlins is on, I'll probably kind of watch it, But if Gremlins 2 is on, I just stop whatever I'm doing. I just drop everything and I just start watching it because I just love how over the top it is. I love John Glover acting like a complete nutcase who, and John Glover is one of those guys that he can do nuts just as well as he can do calm and relax. So, that's what I love about John Glover. He's one of those actors I really wish he'd do a lot more. Or, he did a lot. He's done a lot, but I always felt he had leading man potential, and he usually plays secondary supporting characters, which is fine, but I think he's freaking hilarious. And of course Robert Picardo, Joe Dante regular, as well as Dick Miller and a bunch of the other folks in both, and then of course in the first one. But I mean, for me, just the suspense of the first one is what I really like about it. The kind of just on the edge, waiting for what crazy shit, the microwave scene.
Where he's in the microwave. He's like,
those kind of things is what I love about the first one. But then on the second one, I love because it's so satirical, because it's poking fun at itself. When Leonard Maltin's reviewing Gremlins and they all jump up and take him out. Yeah, I mean,
he was doing like a review of the first Gremlins movie when they did that, wasn't he? Yeah,
he was doing it stinks and
yeah. I had no clue that. I mean, I don't know if it was because it was never told to me or if it's because, I'm blonde or what, but I never really thought of it as a horror movie until like maybe a couple of years ago. And somebody is like, oh yeah, it's a great, horror Christmas movie. And I was like, what? I was like, I never really thought of it as a Christmas horror movie. It's Gremlins. I never,
I can kind of agree with it. It does exist in this kind of weird thing because it starts off like E.T.
Yeah.
It starts off like E.T. It's just real sweet, little cute little Gizmo walking around, and then next thing you know, Gizmo's tied up to a train track and they're running trains into it and laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
And, it's like it goes through this transition. It starts off as this kind of E.T. thing. You kind of know there's something wrong with it because, Hoyt Axton steals it from the Key Luke's character. Dad steals it from Mr. Wing and takes it home. But, then it's so sweet and it's so cute and all this.
Big thing, guys. Just watch. It's going to be like the pet rock. Everyone's going to want one.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, the water scene. And then that scene's kind of like, oh, ooh. And then the Gremlins. And then there's Spike. And, of course, Spike is voiced by the great and awesome Frank Welker, who has voiced just about everything. From Scooby-Doo to, he did. Yep, Christopher Lee did do a death metal album. I mean, Christopher Lee did it all. And he said he was the only one that could actually get Peter Cushing to laugh. If you ever listen to some of the old interviews with Christopher Lee, he and Peter Cushing were like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. They were that level of best friends, that they would do all those things. So, but yeah, going back to the Gremlins, it starts off as a ET, then it kind of starts that slow burn into something else when you see them and they're all cute. It Spike's a little bit of a dick, but okay, there's always one. And I mean, my cat Lazarus, who I'm surprised is
he's plotting behind something.
My cat Lazarus, he'll sit there and literally almost sit on top of his sister waiting for food, waiting for her to muscle in on the food that she's eating, even though he has his own food dish and all that. So there's always one litter. There's always a dick. And then then the whole thing feeding him after midnight, and oh shit. Then when he wakes up, there's all like crap, the
gooey
all over the place.
webs.
Yeah. Then that's when things are just shit's about to go down, and then that's when it becomes a horror film.
Yeah.
And, and I agree. Gremlins is a Christmas movie, just like Die Hard.
Yes.
It's a Christmas movie. It should be watched during the Christmas time because that's when it takes place. And so yeah, so it's a weird horror film, but it's the perfect kind of Joe Dante film, and so it I mean, that's why we're talking about it today. I mean, here it is. I mean, 1984. So almost 40 years later at this point?
Yeah, don't remind me.
Yeah. And people are still loving it and watching it and talking about it. Name me 5 movies from this year that you'll probably still be talking about in 20 years.
I don't even know 5 movies that came out this year.
Yeah. Exactly. And that just shows you how good Gremlins and even Gremlins 2 is. And the fact that they're working on Gremlins 3 now, which I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you there, Richard. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a need for it.
I hope they just don't go like how they did with Chucky. I know they said they're not going to do CGI and stuff, which is great because I'm more of a practical person. I love puppet practical effects. Cheesy or the cooler you can make them, the better for me. Like, holy shit, you did that.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that they don't try to, like the recent Child's Play movie. I hope they don't try to make it too like, oh, we've got to make it fit with the times, like to like the point. Like, I guess like how like, oh, you can have Chucky on an app and you can do, he's like AI. Like, why?
I haven't seen it. I won't see it.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Spoiler, guys.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I didn't think it was bad though. I didn't think it was bad. It's definitely its own movie.
Oh, that's good. And I don't poo-poo remakes, reboots, restarts. I prefer it when a movie is a continuation. Charlie's Angels, for all its faults, not the one with Kristen Stewart. I won't watch it because Kristen Stewart can't act either. God, if you put her and Scarlett Johansson in a movie together, it would just be completely and utter mind-numbing boredom. By underacting, complete with underacting. But the Charlie Angel with Drew Barrymore was a continuation of the original series, and I would rather they do that. So if Gremlins 3 is a continuation of the series, where hell, I mean, if they could convince Phoebe Cates to come out of retirement, I mean, hell, even Kevin Kline can come along with her, but if they do it as a continuation, that it's Gizmo or Gizmo's offspring, legitimate offsprings. I don't know if Mogwai's fuck or not, but
apparently but
I mean, could you just imagine that? Yeah, Jimmy Hammer.
No, they sound like this.
Yeah, more like. But anyways, if it's a continuation of the original series, I think it'll be hilarious. I think that if they keep that kind of nice little even bent between horror and comedy, not so much Gremlins 2, more Gremlins 1, where it starts off sweet and then just kind of gets a little bit sinister. Okay, let's see what Sean. Yep. I agree with that, Sean. If they can kind of keep it in the same vein, and Joe Dante does it and all that, or actually it's Christopher Columbus, I believe, is going to be the director on that one. And Christopher Columbus is not a bad director, so not a bad director at all. So, I mean, it has that potential to be really something awesome. Um, who knows? Maybe they might get Billy, Zach and Phoebe to come back. Hell, I'd even be happy with John Glover. Unfortunately, most of the rest of the cast has all passed on at this point. Dick Miller, Hoyt Axton, Christopher Lee. Oh, Robert Ricardo, though, still around. But he really didn't have much of a role in Gremlins 2, but still, he's more of a, but, and Getty Watanabe, again, he kind of minor part in Gremlins 2. But, we'll see. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm really hoping that it'll be fun and entertaining, and it won't just be just a rehash or a reimagining. That, again, I don't have problems with those. It's just they got to be done right, and my preference is that it's a continuation, not a new story.
Yeah, well, from my understanding, from what little bit of information I've been able to find out there, apparently they already have like a script that's written out. They may need to adjust it because they've been sitting on the script for a while. But it's supposed to go back before Billy gets the Mogwai. So it's supposed to be kind of like the origin of the Mogwais, like where they came from and all they started. I don't know. Well, because they're demons. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it won't be so cutesy and fluffy. Maybe, I don't know. Because it is they're probably going to make it more family friendly for this. I mean, even though it was PG-13 before, PG-13 now is nothing.
Back then, PG-13 was pretty. I never thought that the PG-13 rating was necessary, but then again, and I'm not going to get into my whole epic rant about the MPAA and how they're really a censorship organization instead of a advisory board. But at that time, at least, PG-13 meant you might get a little side boob. Yeah, definitely would get more violence than you would like with an R. RoboCop was definitely, well, originally it was an X, but it never would have gotten shown if it was an X, because porno was the only thing that got X.
Yeah. When like NC-17 or something was like, oh no, that was right under R. That was like right under R.
No, NC-17 is over R.
Oh, it's over R?
It's over R. It's
okay.
Like David
They don't use that anymore, do they?
David Cronenberg's Crash was NC-17. I don't know if you see it. It's the one with James Spaders and Holly Hunter, where it's people that are turned on by car accidents.
No.
Ew, you ought to see it. It is a mind fuck, I'll tell you that. It's Cronenberg. What do you expect? But I mean, Cronenberg has this ability to make something as horrific as car crashes actually almost erotic. That's how weird this movie is. But yeah, when I was watching it, originally it was just GPG, PG, R, and then X. And X was for porn. Anything rated X was usually porn. And then some movies got hit with an X, so they would recut it to get it to a hard R, as they like to say. But then they realized the parents, at the same time were blaming Bugs Bunny for blaming kids for violence, as then video games and then rap song. So people are always blaming something external, when in reality it's the fact that they just don't give a shit about their kids enough to pay attention to what's going on. Or that's why I say I have the cool mom. Yeah, she let me watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but she also made sure I understood exactly why these things, if I didn't understand, which, by the time I saw it, I understood, when Damone got the Stacy pregnant, and it only takes once, as they say.
Yeah.
But I have issues with rating systems. I have issues with the parental advisory. I will say, at least if it just says it's got content that you may find objectionable, okay, it shouldn't be it shouldn't regulate what you can produce. It should be to advise people, and the NPAA is just not like that. But they added 13 in NC-17 so that the NC-17s might have a shot, but most theaters won't release an NC-17 film. And a PG-13 is that coveted demographic now. They may have said it was created to help parents make the right decisions, but honestly, I believe it was a way for the MPAA to force people to make the kind of movies they wanted to see. Because if you get a PG-13, it can be marketed to parents and anyone over 13 can go see it. So so that's the reason why. So that it's again, going back to my epic rant, it's all about money.
Yeah.
All about money.
That makes sense.
And in this case, and with the MPAA, it's about money. It's also about censorship, because they are a bunch of, they don't like half the movies that make. They want certain movies. They want this to stick with the 1950 bullshit movie. And while there are many great ones, cinema, in my opinion, really didn't start busting. They busted the boundaries up until the Hays Code. And then after the Hays Code got repealed, that's when they started making some crazy ass shit. And that's where movies like Gremlins had been made in the 1950s would have been so sanitized it wouldn't have, its cultural impact probably would not be felt. But there was no Hays Code by that point. So, they had their shot, and they took it and they ran with it and they won. And here we are, still talking about it.
Yeah, and it'll never stop either. Jesus. Well, sir, we're coming up on our time here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I see that.
Overall, how would you rate the movies?
I would rate them probably around 8 to 9. They're not perfect movies, E.T. was a perfect movie. So, if you judge it by the standards of the film of that time period, it probably was an 8 or a 9. It was very good, but there were still a couple of little elements there. Let's just say you're not ever going to see one of those on Terribly Awful, and you're never going to see me tear it apart like I do with some other movies where there's plot holes galore. And I'm going to say this real quick. I don't know if you've seen this recently, but there's this meme going around that if you don't like dogs, you maybe need to reevaluate yourself because even the Grinch had a dog. Point of order, the Grinch abused his dog, Max.
That is true. He abused that dog.
He put a heavy thing on his head.
Yelled at him.
Strapped him. Yeah. He strapped him to a overweighted sleigh, whipped him, forced him down a steep incline, and then because he was tied to the sleigh, dragged him for for however far it was until Max was able to get fast enough to get onto the sleigh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Grinch had a dog. They made the Grinch how the Grinch Stole Christmas today, people would be losing their shit.
Oh, well, yeah, they would.
PETA would be, even if it's an animated dog, PETA would be losing their shit. So, yeah, okay. You know what?
Damn it, you just gave Karen's an idea. Thanks a lot, Matt. You've ruined Christmas forever.
But I'm just saying that before you start before you start banging on a group of people who may not like dogs, I don't like dogs, mainly because I had an Alaskan Malamute rip my skull open when I was 6 years old and got 37 stitches, 38, including the one in my hand. So I have an understandable, I don't like dogs. Although I've owned a dog, I had the greatest dog in the world. His name was I, just like the one from Cowboy Bebop. And he was as smart as the one from Cowboy Bebop. That's the only dog I've ever really, truly loved. But I'm a cat person. But, just poo-pooing a group and saying, oh, yeah, well, obviously you need to reevaluate your life if you don't love dogs, just like because the Grinch had a dog. Well, no. Let's not use him as an example. Let's It's like saying that Harley Quinn and the Joker are the ideal relationship couple.
Oh God, the
Yeah.
ideal white trash couple. That's my boo. I'm waiting for him while he gets out. He'll be out in 36 months. I'll be faithful as shit as long as he don't know.
If you got to go with it, I'm a firm believer in the Morticia Gomez. They love each other. They
Passionate.
they're passionate for each other. They would, he says, I would kill for her,
Mhm.
and she encourages him and supports him and loves him for who he is, doesn't try to change him. That is a positive relationship goal, not Harley Quinn and the Joker. And certainly the Grinch is not a shining example of being a dog owner. Anyways.
Oh my gosh, Rick, I'm sorry. I got to put this one up. The dude in Silence of the Lamb had a dog named Buffalo Bill.
That's true. It's true. It's true.
He did. He loved the shit out of that dog. He was giving him
yeah. Yeah, he was pissed when that girl got a hold of that dog, and I mean, people, and it's funny. I was watching Nemesis, not the Star Trek movie, the Olivia Greeny cyborg movie, and my daughter got upset when we were watching. She got upset because they shot the dog in it. Not the people, the guy killed 3 people in that scene. No problem. Cyborg shoots a dog. My daughter lost her shit.
I'm the same way. Like I Am Legend, when the dog died, I was like, what?
Oh yeah.
No, not the dog. She's innocent.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if they kill a lot of people. I mean, shit. The dog died or the cat.
Oh my
People
God.
are weird sometimes. People are weird.
It's okay. Well, you have a perfectly good reason to not care for dogs. I don't judge you for it.
Oh well, I appreciate, and I don't judge anybody for owning a dog. Some dogs are wonderful. I've met some great dogs, but I'm a cat guy. I'll admit it. I love my cats, and the only dog I ever loved, unfortunately, passed away, and I held his paw when he passed away. And the way you felt about the dog in I Am Legend is, I mean, that was not a happy day for me. And I got home and I told my ex-wife. Of course, she was still my wife at the time. I told her I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Yeah, but let's not end this on a down note. Let's end this on a positive note. So
we highly recommend Gremlins.
Yes, Gremlins is still is probably it's great movies. It's definitely earned its exalted status as a Christmas movie. It should still and will always be part of our movie identity. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. Both of them. And they just don't make movies like that anymore. I mean, not saying that they don't make good movies. I'm just saying that movies like Gremlins, it was kind of a lightning in a bottle at the time. Gremlins 2, same thing. Gremlins 3, who knows? I mean, I'm not going to not give it. I'm going to give it a shot, but
expectations aren't going to be too high for it.
No, I'm not going to sit there and put my hopes on it. I knew Ghost in the Shell wasn't going to be anything but a greatest hits movie. So, I'm not expecting it, but Christopher Columbus, if they get the good writers, the right director, they make it fun, they make it interesting, I'll give it a shot.
Well, hopefully it comes out, because I am interested to see how it's going to be too, especially if they're not going to be using CGI. Because I know, I mean, even now, people, there's technology that's so advanced. I mean, you don't have to make CGI. It's like 3D printing and all kinds of animatronic stuff they can do, robotics. I mean, it's insane how much technology and how creative people can be nowadays.
Well, wait till you see when we make Phobias, our second film our horror film over at Q13 Film Partners, after we finish Serious Profession. Phobias is going to be 100% practical effects.
Ooh, very nice.
I will say there may be a little bit of CG just for one particular scene, and that's only if we can't do it practically. But good point, Richard. Good point. But for Phobias, we have Amos Effects, as well as Joan, who are both excellent special effects artists, Joan Jones, and so we are. Phobias is going to be is at least at this point 100% practical effects. So you'll definitely enjoy that.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to see that. And for sure, you guys, I'm going to, keep you guys updated on that stuff as well. And maybe when it comes out, you can come on, we'll talk about it and watch a little about it and promote it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll send you a screener.
Awesome. Cool. And you guys make sure to check out in the description. There is a link for Key 13, Terribly Awful. And for Matt also, if you haven't already, check all 3 out. Get on it before Facebook fucking takes it again. For the love of God, get on it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Just,
oh my gosh.
I mean, we're still reeling from when they yanked our Terribly Awful page. So yeah, please support us. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate all the love. We're really trying to show that the East Coast can make stuff just as well as the West Coast can. There's more to the East than New York and Atlanta. We got Maryland. Joppa, Maryland was the home of House of Cards. We got lots of stuff out here. So we're really looking forward, and we're really hoping that people will support Key 13 Film Partners, support Terribly Awful, and we're going to continue to try to make movies that have good characters, interesting stories on a small budget.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for you guys. You guys do a great job. I'm excited to see everything you guys have coming out and to share it with everyone too. Oh, all right, sir. We're at the end of the road.
I always have so much fun on this show. I hate leaving.
Oh, people love it when I leave. They're like, you just leave the person here and you just go, okay, fine.
No. Without you, there's no show. I mean, I wouldn't do it without you.
Oh man, you guys make sure tomorrow's Thursday. It's game night tomorrow night, guys. So we're gonna do another trivia game, another horror trivia game.
Oh, I die at that game.
You know what? I try not to do it too difficult, but not too easy. Like you still have, people have guessed and made it. So I was surprised how they ended up on the board at the end. I'm like, okay, cool. So I don't know. Everybody seems to be having fun with it. I've changed it up a couple of times, but trivia just seems easier to put together right now until I can find something else. But yeah, you guys make sure you stop by for the Christmas horror trivia game. And then Friday, we're going to pick back up on some more Gremlin business, and we're going to go into Joe's Creepy Kitchen, and we're going to make some fried chicken and gizmo treats. So,
ooh,
yeah.
I'll have to, if I have a moment, I will swing on by and take a look.
Sweet. I make a mess in my kitchen and a fool of myself. So it's worse in the kitchen than it is in here, I swear to God.
All right. Hey, sounds like must-see television.
I'm like, oh shit, that was the tip of my finger. Oh, I'll keep going. And I'm a trained professional at this shit, too. Like not in podcasting, but in cooking and shit. So it's like, oh, that was my finger. Oh well.
You're a professional cook?
I am. I took culinary. I grew up in restaurants and busing and serving, and I was a cook in restaurants and all kinds of stuff. I was a food service manager in a prison. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I may have to get with you. I've got a script that I'm working on, and I need people with kitchen experience on. So I'll maybe get in contact with you once I get a little bit further along and further ahead on some of the other stuff I'm working on.
Sweet, I'm game. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. I hope you guys had a good evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. Shit, all right, tomorrow night. See you guys.
Bye.